All right, tears are coming my eyes. Blizzard has finally listened, and Mythic Plus is getting a nice, really healthy change. I don't think out of every one that I've read, I'm like, yeah, that one's not going to work. No, they are all perfect. And from what I'm seeing, the rest of the community, because you know me, I'm just a Mythic Pluser, but the rest of the community is really enjoying it all. I think one of the biggest changes that we have coming down the ride is the cast times on really important enemy cast. They're getting increased. I think something that I would have never thought about, because, you know, my small little peanut brain is sitting there. I just would look at the really external things and like the swirlies on the ground, which are changing as well. You're going to see that in season 2. But really, you're looking at, so you have a reduced cast time, so you have more time to react to it, and you can cross your fingers that other people will put, you know, their interrupts to play. Tank damage, the spikes, and just the brutal all, like the telegraphing of that ability, like chaining, that's also getting adjusted a little bit. It's being reduced. I think another one. So right now we have a full team change, a tank change that's actually well worth it, and then the threats in the average pack of enemies. So when you're pulling, not your like MDI and great push pulls where you pull an entire room into the boss, but you're going to look at your regular pack of people that will have, you know, less things that you have to worry about. So I can't think of, you know, such a major change that's so worth it, you know. And at the end of what, like when you read the article, it says and more. I'm just thrilled to see if they're going to do anything else in that realm of, you know, party friendly user wanting to just progress in Mythic Plus. A+ there for that one. Now, they did adjust your Mythic 0, your baselines as they call them. They will reward champion track gear with a weekly lockout per normal, but having that champion track will get you a better, more consistent start to the world. I think, you know, you got time to play in Mythic Plus, and then you can get that champion gear and work towards getting the crest to level it up, and bam, you're just in a much better spot. When you guys are leveling your keys up, you know, from Mythic 2 through 10, each level will now increase the health and damage of your enemies by 7%. What was it, you ask? Oh, it was 10. So you're talking about a 3% decrease every time per level up till Mythic 10. I think that is just on top of the adjustments from the cast timers and all those abilities I just talked about. You know, I think that's great. 3%, it adds up. You know, thinking of somebody that uses Hunter's Mark, a little bit makes a difference. But then once you get to plus 11 and onwards, that 10% scaling does come back, which I'm good with. Because if you're doing 11s, you're fine. You're not going to really shake a head at that 3% because you're already got that skill and ability there. But for everybody else who's trying to grow and just do better in Mythic Plus, you now have a 3% decreased health and damage from your enemies. Perfect. The rotating affix, Xalatath's Bargain, that we all have to pay attention to every weekly reset, what's coming down the road, that is actually moving from Mythic 2. So let's say you would have went from Mythic 0 to your plus 2, I'll say, and you would get that bargain affix. So you actually had to pay attention from going from that 0 to there, so you had something to adjust to. Now that's moving to Mythic 4. So you get plus 2 and a plus 3 dungeon that the only thing you have to worry about is the timer. So as you're progressing through Mythic Zeros, you're getting your champion gear. You're moving through your plus 2s and plus 3s with just your group that you're picking up, and that timer you have to beat, which is, don't get me wrong, that's stressful enough. And as you progress further, you're going to realize that, you know, you just sit back and enjoy that plus 2 and plus 3 with just the timer. I think that is perfect. Now, the alternating cycle of Tyrannical and Fortified, you know how like every week it would go, like you either at your plus 4 you'd get Tyrannical, and then the following week you get that Fortified. Now that's moving up to a Mythic 7. So with the other one, with the Challenger's Peril, then picking up at a Mythic plus 10. So I think that's even a better change. So now you have a wider range of Mythic dungeons and pluses that you can run with very limited affixes and a limited worry besides the timer for the first couple, and then you pick up that Fortified and Tyrannical, which it isn't really that big of a deal, but you just have more room to play. I think this is, you know, stop me when you haven't heard anything that you're not excited about. And now for the sweaty gamers that like to play your Mythic 12s. So now you get to enjoy that penalty for death timers. So you're going to get that the 15-second loss at a plus 12 instead of like that additional 10% increase of enemy health. The Zaltath's Guile will now include that increased timer penalty, which I think perfectly, because that's something to expect at a 12. You know, if you're doing up to a 10, 10 is pretty much standard business nowadays. So you don't have to worry about, okay, well, you all died, you did a group wipe on the boss, and then bam, you lost a minute and some change. Like, who wants that? So now to 12, when you're going in with a highly seasoned group, you've worked your way up and you have your hero gear and your all that kind of stuff. You now then get to enjoy and then strategize for the death penalty and kind of take that breath and use the timer efficiently and get in there and not have to worry about, you know, one boss wipe up to a 12 and then you're done. So I think the progression system is really moving forward here. It's just more gamer friendly and not really just really honing in on the MDI, the great push, the e-sport people that really want to just be the top of the list and, you know, keep going with that meta. Let's dig into the rewards. You know how we used to get Hero Track gear and Gilded Crest at 8+, and Hero Track would come in. So now you get at a Mythic +6, you'll get Hero Track gear at the end in those chests that we're all, you know, sticking through. And we do know that the amount of crests have changed that we've picked up throughout each level. That's currently active now in Season 1 because they put that into effect during the Siren Isles change, which I do have that picture. It's a long chart, but I'll put it as I'm talking about this. And Gilded Crests are now available from 7 up instead of that 8. So now you get a smaller start to start leveling your gear, and by the time you're getting to the 10s, 11s, and 12s, you're fully geared out. You're just ready to take everything in the mouth and just be done with it. So I think this is great. You know, a little bit easier, 7% less that'll be. Technically, it'll feel like 10 to us. So win-win, win-win. Now, in one of my previous videos, I did talk about, remember how to get that new mount that they're going for Keystone Legend, you had to get the IO score of 2850. They are boosting it to 3000, which I'm not entirely mad about, because with all these other adjustments that are coming down and making it a little bit more easier at the beginning, you got to bump it because more people are going to reach that 2600 a little faster than they did before, because, you know, you got 3% decrease, less cast time. All these things add up to where an extra 150 IO isn't going to really make or break us. So 3000, get that mount, because I think this is great. We're actually getting another reward to differentiate between your normal people, which right now I'm sitting in like a 2700 IO, I believe, and then you got 3K, because when I see that 3K walking by me in the game, I'm like, oh, one day. So Season 2 is really shaping up to make me feel like I will get that 3000 IO and become that Keystone Legend, and just keep piling on to the gamers that like to get up there and that, you know, want that 3K IO. So now once you have finished the all seasonal 8 dungeons at a Mythic 12 within timer now, mind you, their Keystone will no longer automatically de-level below a 12. So once a player has timed all dungeons at a 13, the new floor will be 13, and so on and so forth. So I think that's good, because then you can continue to come back every week. And okay, if you spend 35-40 minutes in a dungeon and you wipe it, and then you're trying to 12 and you get bopped to 11, okay, that's not fun. So you have to complete them all to 12, which is going to be difficult in its sense, but if you get that 3000 IO, that'll be no problem. And then if you keep trying to press the 13, 14, 15, it'll never drop below those. So just a better, more cushier starting point for the people who want to continue to push those keys. And hopefully that'll be me. And that is the end of the Mythic Plus changes as of now for Season 2. Out of everything I've listed, I can't think of anyone that I'm disappointed about, and I don't know, you know, if you are disappointed, let me know in the comments, because I like to talk about it, see where we're really sitting as a player base, because, you know, I'm just super excited that finally they're changing Mythic Plus, where before I think they were just slapping some band-aids on it and trying to just force us through it, and it was slowly, like PvP, becoming a forgotten part where, you know, you get the heavy focus on, with the focus on delves, you know, there are changes to that as well. So to really help the delve system move into the Mythic Plus system, I think they have a good harmony. But if you're interested in seeing what those delve changes are, I did do a video about that. So check that out, and we'll see you on my next video.